You've seen the morning routines: cold plunge at 4 a.m., 500 push-ups before sunrise, green juice made from vegetables that cost more than a meal, journaling in a $300 notebook with a fountain pen someone gifted you for hitting a milestone, 3 meditation apps running simultaneously, each promising a slightly different flavor of enlightenment. That's not this. This is what a real morning looks like when the pressure is off, when you've already built the thing, when the hustle has become something quieter, more deliberate, less performed for an audience that may or may not be watching. This is what nobody actually shows you. The first thing you notice is that there's no sound, no alarm. You stopped using one 18 months ago, somewhere around the point when your income stopped requiring you to be anywhere specific at any specific time. Your body wakes up when it's done sleeping. Today that's 5:31. You lie still for a moment, not because you're tired, but because you've learned slowly and somewhat reluctantly to value the transition. The few seconds between sleep and full consciousness where everything is possible and nothing is required of you yet. You get up slowly. There's no reason to rush. You walk to the bathroom, brush your teeth, splash cold water on your face, not as a biohack, not because some podcast told you it activates your vagus nerve, but because it wakes you up and you've done it since you were 9 years old and some habits simply don't need reinventing. You walk to the kitchen. The apartment is quiet in the particular way that only exists before a city fully wakes up. You make coffee. Simple. The same way every day, 2 spoons, no sugar. The same brand you've used for years because you found one you liked and saw no reason to keep searching for a better one. This predictability is not laziness. It's deliberate. When the small decisions of your day are already made, decided once and repeated forever, your mind is freed up for the decisions that actually require thought. You walk to the window with your coffee. This is the most important part of the morning, and it is also the part that looks from the outside like you are doing absolutely nothing. You don't read. You don't listen to a podcast. You don't scroll. You just sit with your thoughts and let them move wherever they want to move. This feels unproductive in a culture that has trained you to treat every quiet moment as wasted potential. It is, in fact, the most productive thing you do all day. Here's something you've noticed, repeated enough times now that you trust it as a pattern. The ideas that have genuinely moved your life forward, the decisions that created real, structural change, almost none of them came from scheduled brainstorming sessions or productivity systems or whiteboards. They came from this, from quiet, from allowing your mind to wander without an agenda, and then paying close attention to where it actually goes when nobody's directing it. Most successful people you've come to know have something like this, even if they don't always name it. A walk without a destination, a shower that goes longer than necessary, a drive with no podcast playing, a moment of genuinely unstructured thought, protected fiercely, even if accidentally, from the demands of the day. They don't always call it meditation or mindfulness. Sometimes they just call it thinking time, or don't call it anything at all. But it's there, in some form, in almost every life built with real intention. At some point in this first hour, you take out a notebook, actual paper, not a screen, because there's something about the resistance of pen on paper that slows your thinking down in a useful way. And you write. Not a to-do list, not goals stated as affirmations, just whatever is genuinely in your head. Sometimes it's observations about something you noticed yesterday. Sometimes it's a problem you've been circling without fully naming. Sometimes it's a worry. Sometimes it's something you're grateful for that you'd otherwise forget to notice. You write it, roughly 3 pages most mornings, and then you don't read it back. The point was never the output. The point was the clarity that comes from getting it out of your head and onto something external. By 7 a.m., you move. Not a punishing workout designed to be filmed and shared. Not a performance of discipline. Just movement, chosen based on what your body seems to want that day rather than a rigid schedule imposed from outside. Some mornings it's a run, 40 minutes, no headphones, just the sound of the city slowly coming awake around you. Delivery trucks, the first joggers, a street sweeper somewhere in the distance. Some mornings it's a long walk with no particular destination. Some mornings it's lifting weights, focused and intentional, the kind of exercise that requires enough presence that you genuinely can't think about anything else while you're doing it. You learned something important about exercise once money stopped being an emergency. Before, you worked out partly to look a certain way, to perform a version of fitness that signaled discipline to anyone watching, including yourself. Now you work out because it makes your thinking measurably clearer for the rest of the day. Because you're kinder to people in the afternoon after you've moved in the morning. Because your sleep that night will be better. Because you're building a body meant to carry you through a genuinely long life. And a long life is now something you're actually planning for, in concrete and practical ways rather than vaguely hoping for. The shift from external motivation, looking a certain way, proving a certain thing, to internal motivation, feeling a certain way, functioning a certain way, happens slowly, over years, without you fully noticing the transition until you looked back and realized your relationship to your own body had fundamentally changed. By 8:30 a.m., you're at your desk. Though desk is slightly misleading. Some mornings it's a coffee shop 2 blocks from your apartment. Some mornings it's a different room entirely, depending on the light and your mood. The location shifts. The quality of attention you bring to it does not. You work on one thing first, the single most important thing on your list, not the most urgent thing. And you've learned over years of trial and painful error that those 2 categories are almost never the same. The most urgent things are, more often than you'd like to admit, other people's priorities dressed up in the clothing of your own. Your phone is still face down, still off limits until this block of work is complete. You have a rule, hard won and rarely broken. The first 90 minutes of real work belong entirely to the most important task on your list. Not email, not Slack messages, not the phone calls that feel urgent but rarely are. Not the news, which will still be there, mostly unchanged in any way that actually matters 90 minutes from now. This sounds simple when stated out loud. It is, in practice, one of the hardest disciplines to actually maintain. The entire architecture of modern digital life is built to interrupt you. Notifications engineered for maximum pull, the genuinely addictive sensation of being needed and immediately responsive to that need. Resisting that pull, protecting those 90 minutes as something close to sacred, is a daily and ongoing act of deliberate, somewhat unglamorous choice. By 10 a.m., you have typically already completed more genuinely important work than most people manage across an entire day. This isn't because you're smarter or more talented. It's because you protected the hours that actually mattered before anyone else got the chance to fill them with their own priorities. You check your messages then, fully, with attention. You respond to what genuinely matters. You flag what needs further attention later. You delete without guilt the things that don't deserve a response at all. Then you make a second coffee. You return to the window for 10 more minutes, no agenda. And you plan the rest of the day with full information, knowing already what you've accomplished, what genuinely still needs doing, and what can comfortably wait without consequence. The afternoon looks different from the morning. Meetings when necessary, calls, the reactive work that any serious business inevitably requires, no matter how well you've structured your time. But the morning is always yours. Fully, completely, and non-negotiably yours. Protected the way you'd protect anything you genuinely understood to be valuable. The morning routine nobody actually shows you on social media is not impressive in any conventional, photographable sense. There's no cold plunge moment, dramatically captured for an audience. No viral productivity hack designed to be screenshotted and shared with a caption about discipline. It's just quiet. And coffee, made the same simple way every day. And thinking, genuinely unstructured and occasionally uncomfortable. And movement chosen based on what your body actually needs. And 90 minutes of real, protected work before the rest of the world gets its hands on your attention. But in that quiet, repeated every single morning, protected every single morning, chosen deliberately every single morning rather than left to chance, that's where the actual building happens. Not in the dramatic hustle moments that make for good footage. In the consistent, unglamorous discipline of protecting the hours that matter most, day after day, for long enough that the compounding effect becomes undeniable. That's the routine. It doesn't photograph well. There's no thumbnail-worthy moment buried anywhere inside it. But honestly, it changed everything. Slowly, quietly, one protected morning at a time.